with the documentary Talk Matt, and we're going to be discussing episode 2 of The Last Ride, which also premiered on Sunday. Matt, what were your thoughts on episode 2 with this thing here?
Like episode one, this was fantastic. Um, I like the more behind the scenes of like how of his injuries and coming back. I think that's interesting. And I like that episode was apropos, whatever the phrase is, the word, redemption. Because you see him watching his match with um, Roman, and he obviously didn't like it. Um, that killed him because he couldn't do that like reverse into the
Oh, he
tombstone.
could barely even freaking walk with
Yeah,
that match. He just looked slow, overweight, just hurt. And basically, he said, his hip was bothering that bad. He was living in pain essentially every day for like the last 10 years or so. And he said that, he really hadn't really felt well since WrestleMania 25 against Sean, which was essentially the very last time where he felt really healthy. So that was interesting to see. It was just like, man, and I know for me and you, when we saw that, I thought for sure that was it for him, because he just looked lost and defeated, was just ready to basically set off into the sunset. But when you see him watching that match, you could just see he was like, I can't go out on that note. So it was just and like in when they were going behind the scenes with his surgery, and he's telling the doctor or the nurse there how many
yeah,
surgeries dad he's had. It was pretty funny.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was funny. Where do you start? But uh, but after he had that surgery, uh, he said he felt better, and he kind
Mm-hmm.
of got that inkling.
Itch.
He met with Vince,
Mm-hmm.
um, and he got a ring, and he worked out, and he said it was, you can tell he can move. He felt way better than he did. Um, it wasn't peak Undertaker, but it was damn sure better than what
Yeah.
we saw
Yeah.
with Roman Reigns. And he trained, and he agreed to have that match, or albeit a short one, with Cena
Yeah.
at in New Orleans. And that gives me more perspective now, knowing this, because that match was short and it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
disappointing. But now, knowing what he went through, it makes sense that you don't. I'm presuming they never said it, that at least with Undertaker just coming back from surgery, give him 5 minutes, see what he can do. You don't want to kill him. Go 20
No.
minutes in first match back. They probably wanted to ease him in, which makes total sense. I mean, he just came back. So now, knowing that, it's understandable. Get 5 minutes, get him back in Mania, and
Yeah, that was like sort of a welcome back
walk him back.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and you want to see what he can do, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to overexpose him in case he can't go as much as he can. And the good thing, and what Mania was that? That was
34.
34.
34.
Then we were at 35.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He wasn't there.
No.
And then obviously,
With the AJ match from
AJ match,
36.
which last with this year, which
Yeah.
was a good way to get him going without really.
Probably the best that he's looked since WrestleMania 28.
And I there
Yeah, yeah.
and the funny thing
Or
was
29, maybe. Yeah.
the funny thing was that they had the clip of him watching AJ when I think he was at the Rumble.
Yep.
And saying he reminded him like Sean, and that's somebody he wanted to work with, and look
Yeah.
what's happening now. He's working with
Yeah.
them, and presumably they're gonna. They're hinting of a return match.
I mean, like they've been hinting at that. So I'm wondering if they're planning on doing that at SummerSlam.
Maybe, but I mean, if anybody who's going to get in the ring with him, I think AJ's the best bet, obviously. And Undertaker, nothing I can say means anything. But if Undertaker believes in AJ, then you know what? I'm going to believe him. He trusts AJ, and comparing him to Shawn, and I think that's
honestly, a lot of people have done so because just from an athletic and just an in-ring standpoint, he's this generation's Shawn Michaels. Like,
yeah. And if anybody can get one last good match out of from out of Taker, if I can finish that sentence, and if that could be his I don't know if it's going to be his last match per se, because he signed that.
I hope so.
Who knows?
15-year deal.
15-year deal. Apparently it's not a Legends contract, so who knows? He's not going to wrestle for all 15 years, obviously.
He signed a Bobby Bonilla deal. Okay.
Yes. But if that is his last match, it's SummerSlam. Who knows? I don't know. We said that how many times, and he's back. But if he believes in AJ to be the last one to retire him, then you know what? So be it. Nobody should. After seeing this, nobody should be upset. If it's a great match, or if it's a decent match that we're talking about and go, that was good, then he's gonna be happy with it, and it's up to him. If he's done, who the hell do we have any room to say when he should be done? But
I tell you though, another thing that was really evident on here was like Vince's relationship with Taker. Like, you could just tell. Like, I don't think that there's really another person, probably ever that Vince has that type of a relationship with. You could just tell, like, just how much love and just respect that he has had. I mean, because to me, it's Vince's greatest creation. It's the Undertaker character. It's stood the test of time. It's the most story character has been able to be sustainable for 3+ decades, which is saying something. And like how he couldn't even speak on how he actually felt about him. That's how it was with him.
And like any relationship anybody's had, like that the loyalty that Taker showed with Vince, not going to WCW and pretty much just doing what he was told to do, and just doing it and performing well, making Vince money, that like the business side, and just being a like stand-up guy with Vince in that personal relationship. That's like no different than in real life. Well, obviously that's real life, but with us laymen, if you will, if anybody, like if you just have an acquaintance, you don't have that rapport with them, so you're not going to be that emotional if anybody talks about them. You can just say basic stuff like, oh yeah, they're good peers and yeah, blah blah blah. But if you have a really a good friend, or even a significant other, or what have you, then you get more emotional, and you have that trust with each other. It builds up, and it's no different here with Vince and Taker. And people who I've always bashed Vince that he's cold-hearted. I think if you really get to know him,
which he is, like, let's not, dispute that.
Well,
But
with business, yes.
yeah.
But if you get, I mean, but everybody thinks he's like that for everything. Like, and probably that business side of him takes over. I mean, he's businessman, is a big businessman, very successful, regardless of what you think about what he's done. But if you have that personal connection, and if you show loyalty to him, he'll show it back to you. And perfect example right here in this episode. And what I'm interested to see for next week, and they teased it, is the Saudi match between him and Kane and DX.
Which between that and his match against Goldberg, I don't know which one was worse. I mean, I guess
the Saudi match.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would probably say with the tag match, just because at least with the Goldberg match, it was pretty quick. Whereas I believe with this tag match, they got like 25 minutes, which who the hell thought that was a great idea?
It's probably they looked and went, you have Triple H, you have Shawn, you have Taker and Kane.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. Big type up match. You're not going to give them 5. Give them 25, and it just ended up. Well, obviously not 5, but it ended up probably not working. Like on paper, it's one of those things. On paper, it should be decent, and you get out there and it's just like, oh crap. And then you can tell that all of them are just like, oh well, this sucked.
Yeah,
and that probably just got Undertaker more passionate to get better. It's like, oh, I'm not ending on that. Goldberg was after that, I believe. Correct?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna end on that. So like, and I don't think Taker he's mad. He's probably upset, but not mad at Goldberg, because I think in episode 1 they backstage. I mean, times have changed. They embraced. There's a respect there, but
he was probably
just mad at the whole thing.
Upset
at the whole thing, not particularly Goldberg. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.